Mark my words, because the summer of 2024 is going to be special. Because not only do we have the Copa America, but the Euros to entertain us this off-season. I'm sure there's going to be no shortage of drama or football heritage for us to be treated to.
This is football heritage.
2024 just happens to be one of those years that blesses us again with multiple international tournaments. Oh, I'm not even including the Olympics. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's also happening after all the Euros and Copa America action, just in case you happen to be bored for more than 1 second. And I know what you're all thinking. BCHD, who's going to win it all? Who's the dark horse? Who's on the cusp of a fairy tale run? And what nation will embarrass themselves and crash out early? Well, congratulations, you've come to the right place, because only elite ball knowledge is found on this channel, baby. If there's anyone's hot takes you should be listening to, it's mine. As I'll be in Germany for the entirety of the tournament, I've somehow bagged some tickets into watching Spain vs Croatia, 2 round of 16 games, 2 quarterfinals, 1 semi-final, and the goddamn big dance itself. I can't contain myself right now, so I only thought it'd be right to share my opinions as a fan, as a punter. Am I recording this weeks before the national squads have been announced? Yes. Will my big brain calls age horrendously? Maybe. As I'm going to be predicting the full entire tournament from the group stage to the knockouts. And I also want to throw in some individual award predictions towards the end, so make sure you stick around for that. Lads, I've got the pro mic out today, so you know we're moving serious, no funny business here. Let's just wait and see. That's always half the fun. Now make sure down below, whilst you're hearing me out, to get your predictions in. What are your hot takes? Who's going to win the golden boot? What nation's going to be a surprise package? What team or player are you bullish on? Make sure to let us know down below. Anyways, let's get started and dive our way into these groups, starting off with Group A, where we have the hosts Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. Now, personally for me, I'd love for Germany to go all the way and have a deep run in this tournament, just to see the fans get around them, the whole country get around them, and just be there to witness it live and just soak in all the atmosphere, as they have been gifted quite an easy group on paper, but trust me, it's not going to be that simple. Scotland on their day have proven that they can trouble some of the big teams like Spain. Hungary, you can just see they're hungry for those tournament upsets, if you know what I mean.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
They've got real dark horse potential, and if they play anything like they did in Euro 2020, they have a real shot of getting out of this group. And then there's Switzerland, who made it all the way to the quarterfinals last time out. They have one of the best keepers in Europe in Hans Sommer, some decent quality individual players. Xhaka's coming off a great season with Bayer Leverkusen. However, it's Germany who probably have the most star power and X factors to display and showcase on home soil. So that's why I'm going Germany to top the group only just. I'm gonna say coming through second, I'm real hot on Hungary. Like, their fans show up, create an absolutely insane atmosphere, and get behind the team without fail. So that is gonna take them over the line in a few of those tight games. Maybe even nick a result against Germany or Switzerland, who knows? So they're plopped in second, and then I'm gonna go Switzerland to be third and potentially make it out the group. And then rock bottom for me, fourth, going home straight away, it's Scotland. It's been a great achievement to see them qualify for back-to-back tournaments, but are the players going to show up? Because we know the fans are. But when it comes down to it, I just don't see them making it through to the next round. Despite the likes of Scott McTominay, John McGinn, they've got some real gritty energy about them. On their day, they've got that dog in them, and I'm sure they won't go down without a fight, but this group might just be a little bit too much. Moving on to Group B now, and it's one of the group of deaths. We have España, Croatia, my boys Italia, and Albania. Now let's just address the elephant in the room here. My Italia, the reigning champs, defending our crown this time out. So, will we go back to back? Oh, no. Not even all the copium in the world would make me believe that it's coming to Rome again. But will we make it out the group? I mean, this isn't the World Cup, so we shouldn't completely choke, but strange things have happened. We're clutching at straws in attack. We don't have a proper number 9. A player like Tonali, who would have been one of our star midfielders and a stalwart in midfield this tournament, is still banned for that betting scandal. And the 2 defensive units, the core pillars of our backline, have both retired from the national team, like Giorgio Chiellini and Bonucci. So we kind of have to trust the next generation of stars and just throw them in there. We're kind of thrown into the same boat as Spain, which I'm not really sure how this is going to pan out between us two. This Spanish side on paper, I mean, it doesn't scare me like old Spanish sides of the past would. This definitely ain't no golden generation, and they do look beatable. De La Fuente as the manager, I'm not too sold on him, and I just have this funny feeling about them where I'm not too bullish about the campaign they have in store. On the other hand though, we have Croatia, who I just feel like are inevitable at this point. When it comes to international tournaments, especially in like the last 6 years, they turn up, and they turn up good. It's like they rise to the occasion. They find a way to get into form, and everything just clicks for them. Modric and Rakitic still ain't retired from the national team. They're gonna have one last dance. Throwing Brozovic in there too. I just feel like they've had the same core for so long now, and they're just such a resilient side. Like whenever you're up against them, you're never confident. You know it's gonna be an absolute grind if you want to beat them, and to tear them down, to wear down their national spirit in the game is a task on its own. And then we have Albania. I know I haven't been talking about them too much, but let's face it, they're not going to be a pushover either. They're going to trouble all these three big sides or big nations. They're going to be another extremely tricky team, and the longer it stays 0-0, the more they stay in the game, the harder it's going to be to beat them. They're kind of a nation that are just happy to be there, but they're also going to be that kind of team who you're like dreading to play. I think this group is as open as it gets, but my big call here is that Croatia are topping it. España, as much as I've doubted their credentials, they're going to run through in seconds. That means I have to put my Italia. Yeah, I think we're going to come through in third here. I just don't think it's going to happen for us straight away like it did in Euro 2020. It's going to take some time for the team to gel together and really find that flow, and hopefully they like grow into the tournament. We save our best performances for last, but as long as we somehow finesse our way out the group, we're going to have to take things from there. But this is going to be a tough nut to crack, and then Albania, I just have to put you fourth, but it won't surprise me if you somehow sneak through in third and manage around a 16 berth. Like, I cannot pick this group to save my life. And then we make our way towards Group C, where we have Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and England. Now, if you're in a position to bet half your life savings on an absolute lock, that would be for England to finish first and top the group.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I'm dreading it, but it looks like Gareth Southgate and the Three Lions are going to take it home, and their team is just looking so damn good. It is absolutely insane, their talent roster right now. It's not a matter of how, but when they're going to win a major tournament, and this looks like the summer where it's all going to come together. I mean, they've been building to this moment ever since the 2018 World Cup, and with the likes of Bellingham in career best form, fresh off winning the league with Real Madrid, Harry Kane up top, Bukayo Saka, Foden on the wings. Every nation right now is looking at their attack and dreading the day that they have to face them. So I feel sorry for the rest of the teams in this group because they're going to get taught an absolute lesson. They just have so many options wherever you look. The likes of Harry Maguire and Jordan Pickford, who at club level are like average players, but for England they put on like their career best performances, like their careers and lives are on the line. When you've got players like that in your team that fight for the badge, fight for the flag, on paper they should be cruising their way to the top of this group and the final. However, the game is not played on paper, and the closest team I think that is going to challenge them will be Denmark in this group. Despite their average at best 2022 World Cup performance, I think in the Euros they just reached that extra gear, and the playing group would have gathered some crucial experience that I'm sure is going to benefit them heaps as they'll slide into second for me. It's reached a stage where everyone's aware of what they're capable of. They've proven it time and time again, but they're just such an underrated outfit, and that's kind of the case with Serbia too. I've been really flirting with putting them in second. It could be a real toss-up and battle for second spot between these two, and I'm really fascinated to see how it all plays out because Serbia, I mean, on paper, the attack of Vlahovic, Milinkovic, Savic in midfield, his brother in between the sticks who's had an excellent defensive season for Torino, Dusan Tadic who still has a lot of experience, veteran status to offer to the attack, not to mention Mitrovic who loves bagging a few goals, and you get the feeling considering that most of that 2022 World Cup squad will carry over, that will just ripen and rise into form come the group stages. And I'm sorry Slovenia, but I've got you finishing bottom of the pack. I'm going to keep an eye out myself on Benjamin Sesko. The young gun's going to be a real danger for them up front, and Jan Oblak in between the sticks will be formidable. But on paper, I just don't see how they're going to get the better of any of the other teams in the group. But that's my final decision. I've made up my mind, and we're moving on to Group D. Bundled in together here are the Netherlands, Austria, France, and Poland, in which you can argue this is another little group of death we've got going on. The battle for first place and the battle for second will be legendary, as we have the two heavyweights, Holland and France, who are probably battling it out for that first automatic spot, and it'll be a rough dog fight between Austria and Poland to see who could grab seconds. Even if one of them do finish third, I think they're going to be better, or one of the better third place teams in general, so they shouldn't have to worry. It's most likely going to be Lewandowski's last dance with Poland at a major international tournament. Austria with Ralf Rangnick at the helm might be a little bit of a surprise package, and Netherlands are having issues and problems of their own, but I just think they've got that quality on paper and some individual brilliance that can carry them through to at least the early knockout stages. And then France, I mean, there's little that has to be said about the kind of quality and world-class players in abundance that they have at their disposal. It's freaky. It should be downright illegal, but somehow year after year, tournament after tournament, this France squad keeps getting better, and that's why I see them flying high, clearing this group first place. Yeah, I know, I'm original. I definitely am. Who would have seen that coming? Austria, I'm kind of just expecting to come and go. If Rangnick's recent managerial successes have anything to go by and his track record, I don't really see them being able to pull off any upsets, and I think they're going to be the whipping boys of this group. They have one of their best players and captain of the country, David Alaba, out, and I'm just not really convinced with the rest of their roster. I mean, Dunsor can be a defensive rock at times. They've still got a couple of old dogs in there, like Arnautovic being their main point of attack. Sabitzer and Lema might be their only hopes in midfield. To all my fellow Austrians out there, prepare for a quiet summer. You're finishing fourth. Despite some pressing issues for Leo Range in terms of their manager and their current number 9 problem, just looking at their starting 11, most of the players there have had a really good campaign for their club teams. You've got one of the best defenders in the world, as much as I hate to admit it, Virgil van Dijk in the back. Creative outlets who have been on fire, like Xavi Simons, Denzel Dumfries bombing up and down the right flank, Cody Gakpo and Milan add a different element to the attack. However, they do have that like self-explosive nature. They just feel like a ticking time bomb that can go off at any moment, and it wouldn't surprise me if they just self-destruct and be that one big nation that crashes out early. But I'm being safe with it. I'm going to put them in second, and that means Poland. They're doing it for Lewandowski. They have some world-class players, some exciting prospects in their ranks, and it's going to be close like all of these groups, but I just think they will inch their way into third spot. Group E now, and here we have Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, and the Ukraine. So we've got the Belgians, who are red-hot favourite to top the group. They've just come off that end of an era, the end of that golden generation, but there are still some quality remnants of that golden generation that still are the first names on the team sheet, like your Kevin De Bruyne's, like your Yuri Tielemans and Courtois, but unfortunately Courtois just ruled himself out for the tournament, still suffering from that ACL setback, so that's a major loss. But looking elsewhere on the pitch, they look like one of the most dangerous sides in the tournament. Look, they're kind of running into it with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Everyone's slagging them off for not winning a major trophy yet. That third place finish in 2018's World Cup just wasn't good enough, and people claiming that period to be a legacy of failure. This, you feel, is their last real shot, their last real chance at redemption. I mean, they've still got that creative spark in Kevin De Bruyne, who can just turn it on at the drop of a hat. The choice between an experienced Lukaku or an on-fire Luis Openda to lead the line up front, the dangerousness and unpredictability of Jeremy Doku on the wings, let alone Yuri Tielemans and Onana holding it down in midfield. Trossard's in some red-hot form right now, and De Ketelaere is coming off a redemption arc type season with Atalanta. So the puzzle pieces are there. They have every right to go far. Their aim should be to make a decent run and put on a spectacle whilst they're at it. Now, you can't talk about Ukraine without mentioning that Girona duo, tearing it up in Spain week after week. The target man presence forward, Dobvik up front, and the explosive Tisigankov on the right. Those two alone could probably contribute 5 or more goals between them, and then we haven't even mentioned the likes of Mudryk yet. I know he's kind of been clowned on, he's a flop, but I think once he leaves that Chelsea environment and starts playing for his nation, he's going to prove the doubters wrong. They've got some solid options and experience in there like Zinchenko. As much hate and stick that he gets from Arsenal, he's a solid cog and a key piece to this Ukrainian national squad who are fighting for much more than football right now. Slovakia are actually looking at their team and like analyzing what they've got going on. They've taken me by surprise. I didn't realize this many ballers and underrated stars play for Slovakia. But here we are. What really impresses me, obviously they got Skriniar in the back line, Dubravka in between the sticks. But their midfield department surprises me the most. Duda, Lobotka and Kuchka, which kind of paint them out to be like a solid unit. However, where it all falls apart for me is the attack. They've got no real prolific force or threat up front. And like most of the Slavic nations, they're probably going to have to rely on their resilience and their defensive structure to break teams down or just to wear them out. And that's where we have Romania, the last team in this group, and that's where I'm going to place them. Fourth. They're going home. They're packing their bags early. Their team on paper doesn't like really excite me. Nothing's jumping off the page besides Dragusin. And a defender alone cannot win you games. I do think they'll probably cause more trouble than they're worth, but I don't see them going far whatsoever. Then we have Slovakia, who I'm going to like quietly slide into third. I don't know where their goal is going to come from, but I think they're solid. And then the top two, I see Ukraine finishing comfortably in second, and then Belgium is going to boss it and top the group. And finally, last but not least, we have Group F, which consists of Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, and the Czech Republic. For Turkey, are they ever going to beat the dark horse allegations of Euro 2020? This is their chance to prove the doubters wrong. They could be a really fun team to watch and just an unpredictable bunch altogether. And if they don't at least make it out the group here, they're going to have to do some serious soul searching, because they have one of the most exciting and versatile teams at their disposal. Hakan Çalhanoğlu is in his prime and has transformed into one of the world's best midfielders and deep line playmakers this season. Orkun Koçukwu, who has skills in abundance, and some exciting wonder kid stars who are desperate to put their names on the map, like Kenan Yildiz of Juventus, Uzun from Nuremberg, and their star boy, generational talent Arda Güler, in which after an inconsistent spell at Madrid, who could probably show us what he's really all about with his nation. We all know Georgia has been the qualifying story of Euro 2024, and they're looking not to be only just part of the numbers and participating, they want to cause some havoc. I love their consistency. They basically have a key player in every department of the pitch, whether it's consistent shot stopper Mamashvili in between the sticks, a young Sazonov who's been a defensive war for both club and country this last year, Georges Mikaldazwe being their most consistent source of goals up front, and then the one and only Kvaradona, their poster boy. Kavicka Kvaratskelia is coming off the back of a disappointing season, but is looking to turn things around for Georgia's debut at the Euros, and I think they're just going to be everyone's soft spot. Everyone's going to be kind of rooting for them. Unless you're actually playing them, I think they're everyone's kind of second favorite team. The Czech Republic don't really have much to say about them. They're just one of those teams again, which it'll be really surprising if they do something. If they make it out of this group, I think that's an achievement in itself. Thomas Souček, Halozek, Patrick Schick up front, they're really going to have to do some heavy lifting and carry their nation if they want to see any kind of success, because, you know, we haven't even touched on one of the main drawing cards of this group, Portugal. There's kind of a few question marks. I mean, they're obviously one of the main favorites. They're definitely looking to top this group. However, are those same problems going to carry over from World Cup 2022, where they're kind of in two minds about playing Ronaldo? Should they start him? Should they bench him? Should he just be there for the vibes? Should he have one last dance and have one real go at it to repeat that 2016 Euro miracle? I've said it before and I'll say it again, their team on paper is like 10 times better than the side that actually won the Euros in 2016, but that's another discussion for another day. I just think they have so many more attacking threat and midfield creative talents that are going to trouble everyone they face. Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, Bernardo Silva, Rafael Leao cutting in on the wing, and then Goncalo Ramos, who loves the tournament and just complements their attack so well. I don't see an upset happening in this group, as I have them coming through number 1, the Czech Republic rock bottom finishing 4th. Georgia are going to give themselves a glimmer of hope in this underdog fairy tale story and finish 3rd. Meanwhile, I think real dark horse this time around, they're coming through 2nd. And now, before we divulge into the round of 16, we've got to see who's the best third place team, because 4 out of the 6 third place teams will be qualifying, 4 of the best. It's hard to really get a scope of that because we don't have goals or goal difference or goals for. I've got Serbia finishing as the best third place team, with Italy second, Switzerland third, and Poland only narrowly making it out and besting Georgia to that 4th and final round of 16 spot, meaning both the Georgians and Slovakia will be waving goodbye and eliminated from Euro 2024. Come the knockouts, and here are your matchups. We have Germany facing an underrated Denmark. Hungary will be taking on the might of Spain. Croatia and Serbia will be facing off in a little bit of a Yugoslavian derby. I wouldn't want to be working matchday security for that game. Then we have England gifted with a pretty straightforward game versus Poland. Portugal are going to be taking on Switzerland. The Netherlands will be up against the Ukraine. And for the final 2, we have Belgium versus Italy and France doing battle with Turkey. This is kind of all off the cuff with these predictions. Not much analysis going on, especially now that we've made it to these round of 16 games. You just got to go off gut feeling and who would be better on the day. Player versus player, team versus team. I think Germany are going to be tested, but they will just eventually, either in extra time or penalties, make it past Denmark. As much as I love a fairy tale underdog story, I think Spain will have enough quality to take care of Hungary. Croatia versus Serbia is probably the most exciting and tightest to predict fixture out of all of them, but I think Croatia's experience, quality, and veteran status in their squad is going to carry them through. Realistically, England should get it done against Poland, no questions asked. Otherwise, Southgate is probably going to get sacked in the morning. Portugal versus Switzerland is an interesting one, but you just can't rule out the Portuguese, especially with all their firepower, all their world-class talent. Switzerland, they can just be such an ordinary side at times. So that's how I see it unfolding there. And then the Netherlands versus Ukraine. It's going to be tight. It's going to be narrow, but, you know, I see Netherlands just edging it out 2-1. You were all waiting for this one. Yeah, Belgium taking on my Italia. And I think the Red Devils, they're probably going to get revenge for that quarterfinal elimination back in 2020. It's going to be the end of the road for us. And even if we do get past Belgium, I don't see us making it past the quarters in real life. I just don't think we have the defensive power and unit to nullify that Belgian attack. And then France versus Turkey has the potential to be one of the most interesting knockout games in the tournament. 2 attacking and free-flowing sides that are going to provide a lot of excitement. So gear up for this one. But, you know, France, they're just France at the end of the day. And even if they're not all there defensively yet, they should outscore Turkey 9 times out of 10. So that now leaves us with the final 8, the quarterfinals. And oh my days, I am frothing at the mouth for some of these games. These games are so juicy, as first up on the clock, it's Germany v Croatia, a rematch of the 2019 UEFA Nations League final, Portugal versus Netherlands. Belgium get drawn against France, and then England face probably their toughest challenge yet, Spain. Oh, the Croatians, they would love an upset here. They'd love to send Germany packing on their own patch, but you've just got to back the home nation. Like, by this stage, they should probably be in a decent run of form, know their attacking rhythm, know how to play and gel together as a team. I'm confident in Julian Nagelsmann's managerial nous, his tactics, his style of play that he's going to express with Germany, so they're probably, again, either in extra time or penalties, just going to nick it against the Croatians. Portugal were just always hard to bet against on paper, and the Netherlands, like we saw at the World Cup 2022, like, they can cause problems for anyone. They're not no stroll in the park either. This is probably the toughest one to call so far, but I'm just going to side with Portugal. They're out there trying to right the wrongs of that World Cup quarterfinal elimination, and I think they're going to get the job done against the Dutch, who kind of have some problems of their own and would be lucky to get this far. However, match 47, another nation I'm kind of bullish on, Belgium, are going head to head with another inevitable nation, France. Didier Deschamps still at the wheel. The squad have gathered a lot of tournament experience and deep runs in the past, or at least in the last 8 years. They are yet to claim a European title though. They've done it at the World Cup. We're so close to going back to back. Penalty shootout elimination in the quarters of Euro 2020, so I think they're going to have a big target on their back, but they're also going to want to gun for the main title, and I see them taking care of Belgium and their somewhat shaky backline. Yeah, their defense doesn't convince me, and I'm sure Mbappe is going to have a field day. Meanwhile, England versus Spain, I think we all know which way I'm leaning. Like, in comparison to previous years, I'm not really that scared of Spain. Now, watch that clip get taken out of context once they beat Italy 3-0 or something, but up against England. I think this is kind of their time too. They've had a few close calls. They probably want to send Southgate out on a high, and their quality all over the park. Even if they run into a little mini injury crisis, they just have players ready to replace them that are just as good. So the three Lions will be living to fight another day and qualifying for the semi-finals, where it leaves us with two monumental fixtures. We have Germany entertaining Portugal, and a World Cup 2022 quarterfinal rematch. France are going to be versus England. This is where it's the business end, it's the pointy end of the tournament, and this is where, you know, it's just the fine margins at the end of the day. Who's going to be on their A game? Who's going to show up? Who's going to crumble under the pressure? And you know what? I'm going to have Germany to beat Portugal. They're going to book their spot in the final on home soil. They'll get the better of Ronaldo and co, and I don't think CR7 is going to go out with another Euro trophy to add to the cabinet. But then France are going to send a dagger to the English faithful's hearts and will sacre bleu their way to the big dance, where it'll be the host Germany versus France for that European title. England are going to crumble as soon as they get to a major test. Like, this will be one of their first big hard draws on their way to a final. Like in 2018, they had a pretty breezy run. 2020, they kind of coasted their way to the Euros final. In 2022, faced France and lost. So I think history will repeat itself there. And then you know what? I think it's their time, bruv. I just... They're going to do it. If not now, then when? And just like what happened to them in 2016, I think Germany, the hosts, are going to lose on their own soil in the capital in Berlin. France are going to pull their pants down and be crowned European champions. And whilst I've been doing these predictions, I've been doing it on the Euro 2024 predicted by the Telegraph. I'll leave it linked down in the description below. But apparently 24% of players or predictors agree with me. Oh, they're actually the most predicted by readers. So 24% think France, 22% England. So that'll probably be a potential final, but the way I did it, my bracket had them facing off in the semis, and then Germany is the third favorite, or the third most predicted to take it out. Now for the top goal scorer, I can see it going either one or two ways, and I don't know, it's kind of boring, it's kind of obvious, but it's either going to be between Mbappe or Harry Kane, especially if they make it as far as I predicted, but also some sneaky rises that could challenge them. Some smoky goal scoring options that'll be high up in the charts. I have both Luis Openda of Belgium, Goncalo Ramos of Portugal, or Nicholas Füllkrug at Germany. But yeah, my money's on Harry Kane or Mbappe. They might even be tied and share the golden boot. For the golden glove, I'm going to go for France's Mike Maignan, even if they don't make it all the way to the final. I just think he's a world-class keeper, can make some absolutely unbelievable saves at times, and that French defense shouldn't really concede many shots. As for best under 21 player or wonder kid of the tournament, I've got kind of a top three going on. I've got Florian Wirtz, who has the potential to have one of those stellar breakout campaigns for Germany, especially after winning the title undefeated with Leverkusen. Turkey's Arda Güler, however, if they go out early in the group stages, he's probably not going to have much of a fighting chance. Warren Zaire-Emery is going to be making his senior national team debut, and if the Dutch make a deep run, Xavi Simons is probably going to have a lot to do with it. So I can see the BCHD channel icon, the legend of this channel, really come into his own and blossom on the summer stage. As for breakout star, this is probably the most wild card award of them all, but if Kobbie Mainoo gets some consistent game time for England, I think he's got that award nailed on. Meanwhile, we're saving the best till last, and we're going to go back to back for England here. The best player award, I think Phil Foden. If he plays like he does for Man City, he'll have that golden ball award tied up like it's no one's business. So let me know your thoughts on all my Euro 2024 predictions. Who am I underestimating? Who am I overhyping? And what decisions should I reconsider? I know you guys are probably going to have a lot to say about my choices and clowning me on how these predictions have aged like milk. It's my first time doing something like this, so hit me with your best shot. To say I'm keen to attend my first major international tournament ever is one of the biggest understatements of all time. It'll be the experience of a lifetime, and I can't wait to see the country of Germany put on a spectacle. And hopefully, you know, watch Italy play live, but that's a little bit more of a pipe dream. If you've made it this far, make sure to drop the video a like down below, hit subscribe with the bell turned on so you never miss out on any of the Euro 2024 content coming to the channel this summer, or the vlogs, or the IRL stuff. I'm going to some of the games with Mackwell. You don't want to miss out on that. Make sure to follow me and keep up to date with all my European adventures with my social medias linked down in the description below. As always, I've been your boy Sir BCHD. Have a great summer. Enjoy the Euros, enjoy the Copa America, and I'll see you all in the very next video. Forza Italia, come on!